What's up guys, it's Jensen and welcome to another video. So I've been trying to figure out who the sleeper team in the NFL is this season. And last year I nailed my pick. I picked the Buffalo Bills. They made the playoffs. This year I think the team is the Denver Broncos. I really feel like the Denver Broncos have a good chance of making the playoffs this season. And they're my sleeper team. I think the number one thing when we're talking about a sleeper team is figuring out if you can find a young quarterback who you think is going to take a big leap in their second or even third years. I mean, we saw that last year with Josh Allen. A main reason why I picked him, I thought Josh Allen would step up. We saw that with Patrick Mahomes a couple of years ago. I think that was probably not very unexpected, but nevertheless, it was his second year. He did step up big time. I think we'll see the same from Drew Lock. Last year he didn't play a lot because Flacco played most of the games. But, I mean, he threw for about 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Probably not a big enough sample size to really make any conclusions about him. But I think he has a really big arm. He has all the physical tools you want. He's experienced. He started like 46 games in Missouri. I think that's very important. We see guys like Mitchell Trubisky being drafted by my Bears with having only 13 starts in college. I think having a seasoned guy that definitely helps Drew Lock. He takes chances, but at the same time, he's smart when he takes chances. It's not Jameis Winston where he's just completely reckless. I think that Drew Lock, he can be accurate too. And when we look at those running backs, I mean, Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay, those dudes are going to create a dynamic duo in the running back position. I think that they're going to really help Drew Lock a lot. And especially Phillip Lindsay. Like, this dude is dynamic. You can use him all over the field. Gordon, he's more the traditional running back. And he's more the power running back. But I think that you can see something similar. Probably not the same, but similar to a couple years ago when we saw the Saints have Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. I think something similar could be happening in Denver this year. I like Courtland Sutton a lot as a wide receiver. I had him in fantasy last year. I was very happy. This dude produced a lot, even with Flacco as quarterback most of the year. I mean, by the way, a message to all fantasy owners. Get Courtland Sutton. This dude's going to be a stud next year. But I really feel like this dude is a true number one wide receiver. I think that with Drew Lock throwing him the balls, that's a significant upgrade from Joe Flacco. We're going to see Courtland Sutton really be a dynamic option for Drew Lock down the field. Obviously, they need to find another receiver, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. We see this draft class, it's so deep. They could probably find someone even if they don't use their first-round pick. I really feel like Noah Fant, I really like this dude. He has a ton of potential. He's a physical freak. He just needs to figure out how to play football, how to really put it all together. And I think this is the year. I think he'll step up this year. Sometimes tight ends have a longer learning curve, but I think that this is the year when Fant puts it all together. And the offensive line, if they can stay healthy, I think they're solid enough. You wouldn't say they're elite per se, but they're good enough in my opinion. Vic Fangio being the head coach, and I was very impressed with what he did a couple years ago for my Chicago Bears. I was hoping the Bears would keep him, but the Denver Broncos are smart. They got him to be their head coach. I think that he is a really good head coach. And when we're looking at that defense is going to be so good. They traded for Jarrell Casey. This dude's one of the best interior linemen in the league. To pair with Von Miller and Bradley Chubb rushing the quarterback, it's going to be a nightmare for quarterbacks next year playing Denver. When we're looking at that secondary, Justin Simmons at safety. They trade for A.J. Boye to be their cornerback. There are so many studs on Denver. Denver is going to be a top 5 defense next year, I would think. And it definitely helps to be playing at Mile High Denver. We all know what a crazy atmosphere that is. And you know what a big-time home advantage that gives them. Playing in Denver, I mean, that certainly helps the Broncos for sure. Those fans, they're really passionate about the team. And all that bodes well for the Broncos. And they remind me a lot of the Bills last year, why I picked the Bills. I mean, a rising young quarterback, where we're looking at a wide receiver. And I really feel like the running backs, I really thought Singletary would be good last year. And I think that the same about Gordon and Lindsay. A strong defense. I thought Buffalo's defense was underrated last year. I think the same with Denver. I really feel like this year, it's going to be the Broncos. And even though Kansas City will win the division, that's for sure, I think the Broncos are going to get a wild card spot, and I feel pretty confident about that because when we're looking at the AFC, it's not as deep as the NFC. I mean, the NFC, you could have like Tampa Bay Buccaneers and San Francisco 49ers competing for a wild card spot. In the AFC, it's more of like the Pittsburgh Steelers with an old Roethlisberger or some other maybe the Raiders or something. It's not really going to be as strong of a team. So I think it's a pretty safe bet that the Broncos make the playoffs. So I think that don't sleep on the Broncos, honestly. Drew Lock, he's going to step up. They're going to be good next year. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, guys. Please like and subscribe. I'll be providing you for more NFL and NBA hot takes as the season goes on. And have a good day. Remember to follow me on Twitter, Jensen Sports. See y'all later.